And I've been preaching this on the show for a long period of time. We need to, as men, stand on our non-negotiable expectations for behavior. Now, this isn't a controlling tactic. We're not manipulating women or anything like that. Some women say that I'm misogynistic for my train of thought, but my position is plain and simple. Throughout the relationship, we should have ongoing communication. At least once a week, if not more frequently, we're supposed to be able to talk to one another. Michael says everyone needs to have space even when they're married. Uh, so let the boys get together,
Oh yeah.
and we're not going to strippers. Anyway, you should be able to, throughout the relationship, communicate with your partner, your likes and your dislikes. If you feel like you're not getting enough attention, you should be able to advocate that. If you aren't getting enough personal space, you should be able to advocate that. There is supposed to be a level of safe space in a relationship where both parties have the ability to display non-judgmental, non-resentment, and non-retaliatory expression. Meaning, if I don't like the way you're treating me, this conversation is a conversation I should be able to voice that. Most men experience in their relationships the devaluing of the man's opinion because the woman must be right. Happy wife, happy life. And if a man disagrees in any way, he's a bad person. So he will be shamed for having an opinion that is not hers. He will be devalued. Some women will challenge your manhood, call you gay, all this other stuff. Don't get your panties in a twist. Men don't wear panties. The fact is that demasculating the man prevents the man from having an opinion. These same women also want a man with an opinion. They want a man that can make a decision. They want a man that can take action without being told what to do. Now, this puts a double standard on how a man is supposed to behave. When am I supposed to ask you for permission to take action? And when am I supposed to uh, just take action? And I firmly believe that if you want a leader, and I'm going to be a leader, I'm not going to ask you for permission to take action. I'm going to take action. I will inform you of things that are about to happen and ask you for your insight before actions are being taken. But when it is time to take action, I am not going to wait for you to tell me that it is good for me to go out there and make it do what it do. It doesn't work that way. Um, Likewise, women are going to feel like, okay, if she wants to go hang out with the girls, she shouldn't have to ask me for permission. She should tell me where she's going, but she shouldn't have to ask me for permission to go. If I don't want her to go, I mean, I got to have a logical reason why. I would say for Halloween, it's not good to be out there after midnight because of the extra violence that's out there with law enforcement arresting all the drunks. It's a logical scenario. I'm not saying you
Right.
can't go. I'm just saying that I don't want you to go, and this is my concern. Now, if you go, you go. But if you end up in a situation where you might need some help, you should probably call me sooner rather than later so that I can come and get you out of that situation because you're going anyway. Now, that doesn't stop you from being an adult and making your own decisions, but being able to listen to your partner allows you to preventatively uh, not be in situations that you don't belong in. Um, and having a partner that doesn't respect you as a human being, whether it's a man not respecting his woman or a woman not respecting her man, being in that type of dynamic where um, the one person has all the control and the other person doesn't even have a say, that's not a healthy relationship to be in. I personally believe that as soon as you start making a list of things you don't like, you don't have to ask yourself, is there a problem? Because there's a problem. Have you ever owned a vehicle and didn't know if you didn't like it? As soon as you start finding fault in it, you're like, the seat don't move back like I want it to. The steering wheel's too close. It pulls too hard to the left. It's leaning to one side. I got to get the transmission done. It's leaking oil. When you start making a list, it's like, this is a shitty car, right? When you start making a list in your relationship, this
Right.
is a shitty relationship. It's the same dynamic. If you have to think hard about how much you don't like the well, let me rephrase that. If you have to think hard to find fault in your relationship, you don't have any problems. But if it's easier for you to make a list of things you don't like in your relationship than it is for you to think of the things that you like in your relationship, you have a serious problem. And the moment that you ask yourself, is this a problem? You already answered your question by asking the question. Yeah, it's a damn problem. Now, you did have a right point. Talking to his partner about it, letting her know she's being ridiculous or unfair towards her expectations, not necessarily calling her ridiculous or stupid or foolish, because that will trigger a negative response. However, you think that her demands are a little bit unfair. You would like some time to yourself, you and the boys, whatever the case may be, and ask her to respect your position as a man. Thank you very much, King. I appreciate that. My shirt or his shirt, because his shirt is sassy too. But after that, it's like, if she doesn't respect you, well, I'm still going. And I've had a woman, I told you guys before, yes, all men's shirts come in men's sizes. See, here we go again. Now, if she doesn't respect my request, I'm going to go anyway, because there's no reason why a person should not be able to get out there and have a good time with their friends. Now, I shouldn't do it all the time. I shouldn't go without my partner all the time. I shouldn't devalue her with another person and say, oh, it's a guy thing, and we're going to go do guy things all the time. But I should not have to take my girlfriend with me all of the time. Does that make sense? Michael says extra large. It's a 2XL. It's a 2XL because it comes with body armor.
Well, that audio we heard, they've only been in a relationship for 9 months, right?
Which makes no sense. You just got out of the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, they shouldn't be at each other that much. But it's still very early.
Codependency.
Maybe it's a sign, like a red flag, what to watch out for. But I think you got to watch your expectations.
She's gonna put some rubbing alcohol in your water.
Arsenic.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
She's gonna make your favorite meal with what you're allergic to because you didn't do what she said.
Yeah, easily.
It's a huge red flag, and it's one of those red flags that we have to. We don't pay attention the first 3 months. He said honeymoon should last 3 years. No, sir. You're talking about the sex. We're talking about the social interaction with one another. The first 3 months, you ignore all of the red flags because you got this new person in your life. You get these new experiences. You guys are bonding. You're building a future together. You're making like 20-year future plans, retiring and growing old together in the middle of Spain somewhere in the first 3 months. And then the 31st day, she keep leaving her underwear on the TV when you're trying to watch the game. You're pissed off. Bras everywhere, little red bags with long hoses all over the place. She's pissed off that you got your socks all over your shoes and stuff. You undressed to the shower and she's got to pick it up. Y'all start really saying stuff that used to be okay. It's all right. I love him. Nah, fuck that. Get your stuff up. The attitude changes, after the first 3 months. But it should not be the kind of codependency that you have like Speed. They need each other to survive kind of thing. It's not supposed to be that kind of way. You should not 9 months into the relationship. Y'all aren't coming out of Iraq. Y'all are coming out of being single. So there should not be such a high level of codependency there. That's my thing. I don't agree with the quantity of control that she's establishing in the beginning of the relationship. And it's going to be harder to break the longer you allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Jesus.
No, that's just wild.
Yeah, it's real. Oh, it gets worse. Check out the next one. Got a 4-second delay.
My wife, who's 38, and I am 39, have been together for 10 years, and this is what I'm always dealing with. I've been kinda down for the past few weeks. At this point, I don't remember exactly what the trigger was, but also, I don't have to. It's a constant stream of stuff to deal with. Anyway, I've been avoiding talking to her about it because whenever I open up, the conversation follows a very specific pattern that I no longer have the interest or energy for. Every time I open up, I always come away feeling like my day would have been better had I just kept it in, so I'm keeping it in. But recently, we did a sound bath and reading, her kinda thing, and admittedly, That opened me up just enough to want to talk about it. I didn't actually talk, but when she asked again, I did. I started by saying I had been holding this in because it always becomes about how she feels about what I'm saying, and not what I'm actually saying. And, as predicted, that's exactly what happened. First, she tried to make the conversation about how she feels about what I was saying. When that didn't work, she got snappy and hostile, predictable. When I didn't react to that, she ended the conversation because she was overwhelmed. The whole time I'm staying cool, talking like I'm in a business meeting. We're ending day 2 following that interaction, and she's avoiding me / not talking to me. I'm not going to chase her. I'm over it. Literally, every time we get here I have to be the one to settle things, which usually becomes about making her feel better when this all started because of her own BS. I'm not doing it this time. If we walk around for a year like this, so be it, bring on the divorce papers, fuck it. But I've been slowly withdrawing from coddling her poor emotional regulation, and it is what it is. So I guess my question is, am I being rational or emotional?
Dylan?
I mean, he's being both. He's playing devil's advocate because he's thinking about it rationally, but he's also thinking about her emotional instability. So I think that yeah, he's doing good. He's thinking about it, but he just hasn't figured out a solution on how to approach it properly. But yeah, that's another wild one.
All we have are wild ones. He's a little late, in my opinion. He should have not gave up from the beginning. He should have started off with, 10 years in is too much. Too much. He's get out. Move. Hurry up. Cameo in the show. He's allowed this behavior to go on for far too long, and it is hard to change anybody, male or female. It's hard to change them when they've built the habit of you allowing them to do certain things a certain way, especially if you call yourself trying to put your foot down and say, I don't want to be treated like this anymore. The excuse is going to be why you've allowed it this long. You've never complained about it before. And then if you do it immediately after they tell you that they don't like something, where you think, well, this is a conversation where we're going to do conflict resolution all the way around. I'm going to stop doing what you want. You stop doing what I want. As soon as you say what you don't like, that person is then going to come and check you and say, oh, well, you're only complaining about that because I complained. So you build a very negative foundation in your relationship when you are talking to or allowing your partner to talk to you or treat you a certain way for an extended period of time. And for myself, I personally believe that 10 years is a lot late, but I really feel like he should continue to not coddle the negative behavior. He should not entertain the how I feel about what you said behavior. It is important to recognize what your partner has to say from both sides of the fence, but it is equally important for your partner to respect your position. So if I feel hurt because of what you said, that does not mean that you apologize to me because you feel hurt. You are saying that because you feel hurt. So why does your hurt that causes me hurt get devalued because I hurt? That makes absolutely no sense. You start talking about your pain and I feel pain about that, you should understand, as bad as you feel, that's how I feel. And we need to work this out so that we both don't have to feel this way. But for his wife to first try to control it yet again, and then, Michael's talking about it, projection, and then try to redirect. And when that didn't work, she ghosted him. She did the silent treatment. Like the man said, divorce. We can be silent for a year, but that's the stuff that leads to an affair, because a man is not going to be mistreated by his wife,
of course,
for too long. He might not divorce her because he don't want to go through the paperwork, but he has no problem with dating his secretary who is paid to do what he wants.
Right.
And his wife is equally paid to do what he wants. And one of the reasons why men marry their secretary as their second wife is because their secretary kept their first wife happy until the divorce, while keeping the man happy during the unhappy marriage, which technically makes her a better woman than the first wife.
Yeah.
The women aren't going to agree with that, but it is. Think about this: women leave their boyfriend for their male best friend because their male best friend would have been giving them boyfriend advice in their unhealthy relationship with their boyfriend. And then when they leave their boyfriend, they're immediately in a relationship with their male best friend. It's the same dynamic.
Yep.
The only difference is that she has an emotional bond with the male best friend, and he has a physical bond with the secretary. And that physical bond turns into an emotional bond, and her emotional bond turns into a physical bond. But it still ends up in the same situation, just from different dynamics. He said, hopefully they'll figure it out. They're not going to figure it out. So people say they should figure it out, or if they could figure it out. And I just read your comment there, and it is not a they in this situation. It is the objective party that needs to figure it out, because the husband already knows that he wants to change, and he's only got two options. He's either going to ask for it and deal with her rejecting the change request, or he's going to divorce her because she refused to change the request. That's it. The wife has the responsibility to decide, my husband's unhappy. I am either going to satisfy him, or I'm going to prepare for the other woman. That's the dynamic. When people break up, when people get divorced, they cannot get back together. It will not be a healthy relationship unless they have both made changes and improvements on the failures of the relationship. If they have not changed, if they have not improved, if I think it's your fault and you think it's my fault that we broke up last time, nobody has grown. We get back together. Yeah, the sex was good. The emotional connection is good. The familiarity of the person that's known me for 10 or 15 years is good, but I still don't like the way you leave your panties on the TV, and you still don't like the way I'm trailing clothes through the house and you got to pick them up on my way to the shower. So if we don't change, the second time is going to be worse than the first time, because the first time we didn't act a certain way because we were afraid of how the other person would react, men and women both. The second time, oh no, I'm going to say, I'm going to behave, because this time it is over. So they're going to be more extreme. This time, she might just not yell at you. She might knock over your 100-inch square foot TV. You know what I'm saying? She might just bust up the whole TV. She might throw it out of a window this time just to show you. She might drown your PlayStation. She might flood your car or something like that. Sugar in the gas tank. I'm going to get you this time. Clean out the bank accounts this time before she walks out the door, so that she can show you better than she can tell you when she walks away this time, and then block your number. The leaving next time is going to be worse than the first time. So if y'all don't get it right, it takes both of you to work on it. And after he has pointed it out to his wife, if she's not willing to make the change, it's not a hope they figure it out. Hope she recognizes that she's about to lose her husband, and she don't value him enough. That's kind of on her. But if she values him enough, then she will find a way to satisfy his expectations. It's not about a lot of relationship shows say you have to submit to your partner, but truth is, you just have to fucking respect them, because no woman will want a man to treat her that way, and no man wants a woman to treat him that way. And with that dynamic, as soon as I tell you I am unhappy, the first thing that should come out of your mouth is, what can I do within reason to change that feeling?
Yep, within reason is fair.
Within reason. And notice, he said he's unhappy, and I said she comes back with, what can I do within reason to change the way you feel? Now, that should work both ways, because if she says I'm unhappy, he should be able to say, what can I do within reason to change the way you feel? And with women continuously coming back with, it's nothing. Ma'am, if you ain't got no problem, then you better be in the best behavior. You need to be happy all the time, because if you don't have a problem, you don't need to be sitting here crying, pouting, giving me the cold shoulder, pulling your head away, trying to get whiplash, dodging my kisses and stuff. Those are levels of emotional rejection. And those levels of emotional rejection develops resentment in the relationship. She's pissed off at him, but she's making him hate her at the same time. And that's going to drive him away.
That sounds like just the same. That sounds like the same thing when you're talking about where do you want to go eat, and And she's like, "Oh, I don't know, you pick." And then you pick the restaurant. Well, I really wasn't feeling the Chinese. What about kind of Mexican? And then y'all get into a deeper dive about, which Mexican restaurant y'all want to go to. It's just, I don't know why that happens, but yeah, it can be pretty annoying.
It's because, like Michael said, the psychic mind reader syndrome. She wants something to eat and she wants you to pick it. But she wants you to pick what she wants. She doesn't want you to pick what you want. So when she says she's hungry and she doesn't know what she wants, you're supposed to name all of her favorite places to
Yeah,
show her that you know what she likes. But that's a control issue too.
that does work sometime. Like, let's say Friday night, y'all always go out to KFC. That's just an easy thing to pick up on. But if, she's like, "Well, where do you want to go Friday night? Or we're not going KFC." She's like, "Don't you know where I want to go?" And it's like,
Right. But you don't
Yeah.
know. You would have to follow her around. You have to look what men do that women don't do. Men continuously from the first date till the divorce. What do you want? What do you need? What can I get for you? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite meal? What when you don't like that meal, what's your other favorite meal? What are you allergic to? Women don't ask men for nothing. She don't care what your favorite food is. She doesn't care what you like to do. She doesn't care where you go for fun. All she cares
Yeah.
is that you come back. do your part and come back. Take out the trash. That's it. So
Yeah.
as men, we have to tell her, this is my favorite food. This is what I like to do for fun. This is where I want to go. But women don't like being told what to do. They find that to be oppressive. So it's hard for a man to get satisfied in a relationship when his woman does not want to find out what makes him satisfied. And it is complicated for a man to find out what a woman wants in the relationship when she dismisses the question by saying it's nothing and expecting you to know. And this is those dating tests that women do. Women test men probably far more than men test women, but men
Right.
should be testing women because men are the prize. The women get the men that are better than them because that's what women do. They look for a man that's better than them, not because men are inherently better than women. A woman with $100,000 a year job will reject all of the men that don't make $100,000 to date that $150,000 man. But that
That's crazy.
$150,000 man, it's insane. But the
That's
$150,000 man has higher standards.
Yep.
So my thought process is, if she wants to be the leader of the relationship, that's fine. She can be the alpha. She can be $100,000 a year woman dating a $50,000 a year man. They can still make themselves a millionaire inside of 10 years. It's fine. But the problem is that when women are in charge, they devalue the man because the man isn't as successful as the woman. Now, if the man is more successful than the woman, it's fine that the man makes more money than the woman, but the man is still not supposed to have a say. So on an equal playing field, the man has to sacrifice all of his resources to satisfy the woman. 41% of what we bring in is to please her.
Right.
Only 23% of what we're spending is actually going on her. So the other like 18% is just buying her gifts and spoiling her. And for what? So that she can stay, not so that she can respect us, not so that she can appreciate us, so that she can stay. If we cut out that 18% of lavish gifts and special trips and hair, nails, and everything if we stopped doing that and she just got the basic needs, she would leave. But then again, the question is, at which point does a man stand on the fact that his resources are at stake here? All of them. His whole livelihood takes 75% of his life to make it. And then after he makes it there, he finds a woman that will use up all of the rest of his resources. And whatever she doesn't use, she takes half of that in the divorce.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's
so. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that, like, financially, marriage doesn't make sense, and to be cleared out like that. Yeah.
The dynamic, it's worse than what you think. From the first encounter, men start using their resources to bribe the girl for a date. I'll pay for it. Where do you want to go? She's going to immediately say steak and lobster. No female ever says, bag of chips and a soda. They always want steak and lobster. They always want a 5-star restaurant. They always want top of the line $250 plate meals. They want the $300 movie theater on the bleacher seats with the reclining chairs that vibrate and being served dinner during the movie. $250 for a movie. But they never say, oh, let's just go to a Starbucks and get a cup of coffee. Let's just, grab us a couple of bottles of water and sit in the park and talk. It's always got to be something impress me, wow me. But it only shows how wasteful a man can be with his money with a complete stranger. Now, if a woman was smart, if this guy doesn't know your name and he's willing to spend $500 on you today and $600 on you next week and $750 on you the week after that, that shows a level of financial irresponsibility, because he could equally have spent that same quantity of money on helping homeless people on the side of the road, because they're all strangers too. The only difference is that his goal is not to sleep with them. His goal is to sleep with her. Now, if women were looking for a man that was more financially stable, then she would be looking to find a man that's not going to spend any money on her, that is going to invest his time and his effort into getting to know her. And then they will value each other, and she will put effort into his life that would make it reasonable for him to put finances into her life. But the dynamic that we have right now is that women sell sex for the relationship and men sell their resources for the relationship. And the men get the sex, the women get the stuff, and they come together. Now, the women train the men, and that's what women do. They the psychological and emotional manipulation, they train the men to not have a voice, to always agree with what she says. Even if he disagrees, it's a group thing. I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to disagree with you so that we don't have a fight about it. So when she says, we agreed on this, no, you decided and I didn't counter. That's what happened. And as a conflict avoidant. And we do this just to stay with this girl, partially because we don't want to be alone, partially because the sex is good, but at no part of it are we doing it because we are respected, valued, and appreciated by the woman that we have. So once a man gets tired of, because we only leave for a select few reasons. We leave because of infidelity, because you cheat on us with somebody, especially somebody we know. That's going to make us leave. And then we're going to leave because of lack of respect. Some men will hang in there for the lack of respect as long as she's loyal. As long as she's still having sex with me, but she's treating me like garbage, still stay in a relationship. Some men will stay in that relationship for that. But if she's cheating on you with somebody else and she has no respect for you, that's it. That's like a triple KO right there. But a lot of men, even without the infidelity, get tired of the disrespect, and that makes them leave. And they typically leave their wife for a less attractive woman that respects him more than the woman that he's already got. Women always complain, why did he trade down? Why did he get that girl? She's not as cute as I am. Because he respects her. He appreciates her. He treats him better than what the current girl is treating him. And that's why that girl doesn't have to be as attractive. Because a 9, a female, because no woman is a 10. Any woman, ladies, if y'all on the show right now, look, I'm going to take some thumbs down for this. I don't care. If you call yourself a 10, first you're lying, because nobody can be perfect and have flaws at the same time. Women want a man to accept her flaws and all, which means you're not perfect, because perfect means that you have no flaws. However, if you're considered perfect, that is because the list that I have for you, you've met all of my expectations, which makes you perfect for me. You're perfect for you doesn't mean that you're perfect for me, because if you've got people around you in your life, whether it's your relationship, your friends, or your family, that tell you that there's things about you that you could change that you have not changed because you don't feel like it, those are flaws. So if you're calling yourself a 10, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to society. But the other thing is that you are a huge red flag, because perfection does not require change. So when a woman tells me that she's a 10, that's a balloon pop scenario, because to me, you're telling me that anything about you that I recognize right now that could use some improvement, you're not going to make that change. You're not going to evolve from what you are right now. I am not a 10. I might be a solid 8. I could find things about me that could improve. I might be a 6. I might be a mediocre 6. I could find things that I could improve, but I would never say that I am a 10. And the ideology behind that is that the closer I get to my perception of perfection has nothing to do with how other people judge me. And it is how well I fit my partner, not how well I fit myself. And when women identify themselves as a 10, the other reason why they do it is because they fill the list of what they expect a man to be by being that for themselves. So they're a perfect 10. They are the best man that they could find. And that part I can agree with. But when you are, as a woman, the best man that you can find, how are you going to find a man better than that? Doesn't that make it impossible for a man to stack up to her expectations now?
Yeah.
And then she's going to train you to follow her instructions so that you can behave as an obedient man to her masculinity. That's going to have a conflict of interest, because as a man, you're what we say, our balls are in her purse. She has demasculated us, taken our core reason for being and tucked it away. And now all we're doing is just sitting there following her lead. But that's not what women want. Women want a leader.
That's probably the biggest problem in the Western society, is that a lot of women have that attitude towards men nowadays, that they're going to control their man, and how they learn about it on social media, or how their moms tell them how to control their dads, and that's why a lot of men are going to Eastern world women.
Of course.
In my opinion.
No, you're right. That is actually the thing. Men are traveling the world to find more traditional wives, less aggressive, less assertive, less masculine wives, just specifically because they are overly dominating. But they also don't want a man that can be dominated. So what you're ultimately asking for is conflict, because you're going to keep challenging the leader of the household, that you put this man here as a leader of a household, and then you keep challenging him until he puts you in your place, which some women might feel like that's devaluing her as a woman, but that's not the case. I tell them, okay, Donald Trump's president of the United States, and he follows the instructions of about 15 or 20 grown men every day of his life, because the CIA tells him when he can enter the room, when he has to leave the room, when he can get on a plane, which car he can ride in. His schedule is given to a group of grown men to tell him when he's allowed to go places.
Right.
And he has to respect their decisions for his safety. And
Yeah,
that's a $4 billion plus man. $4 billion plus man listens to 20 other men who gets paid by him to tell him when he can leave the house.
Right.
Now, in a relationship, the person who's supposed to keep you safe is your husband. Just like your lawyer is supposed to keep you safe from criminal action. You don't talk down to your lawyer and put your lawyer in place and tell your lawyer to follow your lead, because that's not what your lawyer is there for. Your lawyer is to do what is in your best interest. Your lawyer is supposed to fight your case and win. Your lawyer is supposed to tell you to sit down and shut up. You don't tell your lawyer, oh, no, that's all right, I got this. So a woman should not be telling her man, when she puts him in that position, to take those punches for her, to get shot for her like that man did in the election, to go out and do the extreme for the best interest of her. When she elects that man to be that, she should let him do it. And her engagements with him in the first few areas of the dating phase should be to make sure that he makes the kind of decisions that she trusts, so that she will never doubt him when he makes a decision, and then lead from the rear. You're not saying that a woman is not going to be a leader. You're going to lead from the rear. You watch what he did, and when you start seeing failure coming, you are the support. In a video game, if this was a 5-man team, I don't have to be the person on the front lines. I could be the sniper in the back. But if I take the winning shot because I saw that you wasn't going to win that scrimmage, we still won. I don't have to be the person in the front. Right. But if you're the person in the front, you tell me cover your 6. I'm supposed to cover your 6. That's how that works.
Yeah.
And not a lot of women in Western culture understand that, because we have this feminist movement that are teaching women to abandon family. It's not just abandon men, abandon family.
Right.
And just devalue and degrade men and pro women. And I don't agree with a lot of that. I believe that in a uniform perspective that we should respect each other, and I believe that there should be a lot more communication there than what actually exists. But
Right.
I don't believe that
Yeah,
this is the type of dynamic. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that the biggest thing it seems like they're doing it is not having trust in their partner, and not having trust goes back to that whole projection and how they just start blowing up over the smallest things because they're just not having the trust in the relationship,
But
and
they're teaching each other to abandon the family construct.
yeah, they're teaching each other to be distrustful.
Yeah, distrustful, destructive, and oh, you can do it by yourself, girl. You don't need him. And it's ridiculous to have that mentality.
Right.
Thank you, Michael Garcia. The thing is that every man tells the other men, all the men tell the boys, work it out, fix it, go talk to her, negotiate, compromise. Women like, leave his ass, girl. He ain't shit. You don't need him. You can do it all by yourself.
Right.
But you pick the man that is more successful than you are, that's smarter than you are, probably taller than you are, more physically capable than you are, so that you don't have to do it. So why are you doing? If I had housekeepers, do you think I'd be cleaning my own house?
Nope.
I got mechanics. Do you think I'm gonna fix my own car?
Nope.
I got chauffeurs. Do you think I'm gonna drive?
Nope.
If you have a leader, are you going to lead?
There's no point.
There's no point, because that's what he's here for. It's his decision. So I don't have to think about that. I'm gonna think about the other stuff that he's not focused on. That's how you guys become a team.
Right.
But what we fail to do as men, from the first date, we convince them, I'm gonna buy you stuff, take you places, I'm gonna impress you. We factor that dating cost into our standard of living. Then from the first date to the commitment, regardless of when we get sex out of the situation, from the first date to the commitment, we're paying.
Right.
Some modern women will pay some of the time, but more often than not, the men are paying. Then after the commitment, we might split resources. You move into my house or I move into your house, and we might split resources. And then after we split the resources, I'm still paying, because after we split the bills, I still have to buy you nice things and take you nice places and pay for your entertainment outside of paying. So the money I'm saving off of you helping me pay the bills helps me do nice things for you.
Right.
But when has women had a grandstand holiday for Father's Day? Valentine's Day has become a woman's holiday. We have Mother's Day for the women. We have Thanksgiving for the family, Christmas for the children. Father's Day, the father barbecues in the backyard for himself and whoever the wife allows to come over to the house, and the father gets a tie. But for Mother's Day, you get a grandstand restaurant, you get, fondue fountains and all this other stuff. For Valentine's Day, you get like chocolate world and everything to that effect. Women don't grandstand for their men. They just put on a nice skimpy outfit and sleep with the guy. But you could do that any day out of the week.
Yep.
My gift is buying you a new car. Your gift is wearing edible panties. That's not the same. That's more for her than for him, to be truthful.
Right.
But we do that, and then it gets worse. Think about how bad this is, because now we've been dating for a while. Man's been paying for the relationship. He's renting this girl ultimately, and we don't realize it, but that's really where it's at. And then she demands an upgrade. Now I've got to go engage, propose. So now I've got to go and buy a ring. I've still got to pay for her standard of living. I still got to entertain her, and I got to take extra money out and buy a ring. She's going to protest the relationship until I buy a ring. Then after I buy the ring, which is supposed to be a third of my income, some of these women are looking for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 engagement rings. And they disappointed if it's not that. Then I got, after I propose, I have to propose the way she wants it to be proposed, which will cost extra money. And then after we pay for that, then we have the dynamic of, I got to pay for the wedding. Her parents aren't paying for the wedding. My parents aren't even paying for the wedding. I got to pay for the wedding. So because she wants to get married, even though she is not doing what a wife is supposed to do, she wants to get married. I got to pay for that so that she can stop complaining. Now that I have a wife, she is entitled to half of my estate. If I die, she gets whatever I didn't spend on her before I die. And if we get divorced, she takes half of whatever I didn't spend on her when we divorce.
Right.
$30,000 is a house in Philippines. You're right. That's a lot of damn money.
I
That's
mean,
a lot of damn.
it's just crazy because they've lost their mind as far as what money is worth. You know, what does it buy you? I mean, in America, it doesn't buy you as much, but you know, instead of investing it, I mean, instead of spending it, they could invest it.
I've said that plenty of times. If you take the cost for the ring and you take the cost for the wedding and you put it into a stock option, high interest is the stocks that I be telling you guys about on a regular basis would be generating you between 17 and 22% interest on a monthly basis. And you guys would definitely be able to put that $150,000 to $200,000 for the wedding towards a stock option that be paying you almost $2,000 to $5,000 a month, where you would have extra money coming in to do fun stuff in your marriage and still be able to take your full-time job and pay for your day-to-day operation. And then you only really be spending like $50 to $75 at the justice of the peace to get the marriage certificate to give you the $97,000 tax credit on the money that you're making off the stock option, which is better for you because now you don't have to pay Uncle Sam for all the extra money that you're getting that you're going to spend on your wife. You put that in a trust, she's getting a regular paycheck on a regular basis. That is way more fiscally responsible than putting on this expensive grandstand for 2 to 3 days to impress her network, not your network.
Yeah.
If most guys find out it is a job to be the best man. It is a job to be one of the groomsmen. I crashed a wedding and put in more work for the groom than what I did enjoying the wedding itself. I only went because I knew somebody that was supposed to go. I wasn't even invited, but I showed up. Man, I had to drive the groom to the photo op. I had to drive the groom and a couple of the guests to the actual ceremony, sit through the ceremony, drive them to the reception. I earned a place at that table. And it got worse. The wives with the children left me with the kids. I'm sitting over it. Then they had made me sing for them stuff. It was a Greek wedding. I guess it's because I was black. They thought I was supposed to be boys to men. I did it for them, but it was the principle, the fact that, wow,
Yeah.
weddings is work.
Wow.
But the dynamic is all of this effort that we put in, and at no point does a man ever stand on his principles and say, no, I will not be treated this way. How you doing, Dan? Good to see you. And I think that if we did that more often, we would be in the type of relationship where we get respected more. Now, here's a quick question for you. How much do you think that it costs to date a woman in America on average, just based on your experience?
I guess, I mean, when you start dating them, you know, for sure the first coffee or lunch date's going to cost you at least $40. I mean, you're going to have to take the time to go pick them up, you know, at least, you know, a simple meal, $40. But if you have a follow-up date, it's probably going to be in the evening for drinks. And then it's going to be close to $100. So, you know, finding out about what the person is and what their character is like, it's going to cost you $250 over 3 or 4 dates easily. And then that person might not even be the right person for you.
Now, in that first 30 days, how much money do you think that you would have spent on, you said what, 3, 4, 5 dates? How much money do you think that a man would have spent?
I mean, yeah, at least $200 or $300. I mean,
over all 5 dates, or $200 or $300 on each date?
I mean, you know, I guess my standards for like what I expect to spend in the beginning is not a lot. You know, I could obviously escalate it if need be in America, but I think that, you know, you could spend up to $1,000 on 5 dates. You really could, if you're really trying hard to go to nice places. But I think that's just a waste of money. in the beginning.
Too. Okay, so between $250 if you're being frugal about it, $1,000 if you're trying to go over the top with it. Now,
Right.
how much does it cost to have a Filipino woman in your house for 30 days?
Depends if she works or not. But I mean, from the first date, I mean, $25, she can be at your house for that night, and then.
I have done the research, and it would cost a man $550, up until recently, $750 for her to be at your beck and call 30 days out of a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
so
is way cheaper. So you get 30 days for less money than what you would
And
get
that's
with
not
3 to
just
5
dates.
nights with
That's
an American
somebody
woman.
cooking food for you and everything. Cleaning.
Damn right. She's cooking, she's cleaning, she's taking care of your daddy, walking the dog, shaving the dog's head, bathing you, building stuff in the house, fixing the car in the driveway, rebuilding the washer and dryer, like really.
Yeah, so it's just way out of proportion here. It's like,
so the women in the Philippines be showing their worth.
Right.
And the women in America, they get paid for their presence because they're cute, they're attractive. And that is a dynamic that men need to start recognizing, that we need to recognize our own value, and then recognize what does she want out of this, because we already know what men want out of a relationship. We want the companionship.
Right.
Yeah.
The genuine companionship.
But we want the genuine companionship, because frequent love affairs, one night stands, we can get that. We got OnlyFans, we got Backpage, we can order it to go if that's what we really want. But we move this girl into the house for the consistent, dedicated,
it's a totally
genuine
different
companionship.
reason,
Completely different reason. Women try to bulk all that stuff together. It's not the same. The genuine commitment that we're looking for from the woman is not what we're getting. We're getting indentured servitude as a man in order to get her to not walk out the door with the next man that's willing to spend more money on her. And that's a common misconception that men have. We have to value ourselves higher. And once we've done that, it would change the way we interact with women, and it would save us a lot more money.
It saves us the time too. I've been there and done that already. So
if she ain't there for noble purposes, you're not trying to give her a second chance. I have women that will talk to me about my dog, and I don't even slow down in my pace, because it's like, you're interested in a dog, then that's not what I'm glad that you're a dog person, but I mean, it's got to be about me. If it's not about me, you can't use the dog as an icebreaker. That doesn't work for me. At some point, you've got to be like, oh, that's a cute dog. You look sharp. What's your name? Can I get to know you? Something like that. But can I pet your dog? That's all right. Get out of here. You can't talk to me. Because that's the same as a guy coming up and saying, oh, can I grab your chest? Like, it doesn't work that way. Donald Trump can grab them, but I can't do that.
Right.
Oh, let's go, because we got a few more of these. Let's go ahead and touch base on some of these other comments that we got going on, because we got some really wild ones here tonight.
I moved in with my ex-wife, and now I've developed feelings for her again. I am 30 right now, and she is 28. Mm-hmm. My ex-wife and I have been separated for 6 years. We got married when we were young, and it just didn't work out. Despite that, we have maintained a great friendship and co-parent together amazing. She recently divorced her new husband and needed a place to live, so we decided to move in together to save some money. We have one child together, and she has one child from a recent marriage. So it's all 4 of us living together in the house. Obviously, due to living together, we have been spending a lot of time with each other. We even talked about how we have been feeling closer to each other since moving in. She told me that she loves how easily I have accepted her other son, because her previous husband had a hard time finding his role with our son. On a couple of occasions, we have slept together as well. I thought this wouldn't be a problem because I am used to have causal hookups due to my time after we split. Unfortunately, I think the combination of spending so much time together and being with the kids all the time developed this idea of us being a family. We talked about it, and we decided to stop sleeping together because it makes it hard when we live together. She also told me that she is still grieving from her divorce and that she isn't ready for anything. She told me it has everything to do with her and nothing with me. But recently she has been talking to this guy a lot and has been acting differently around me. She doesn't text me as much anymore or hang out in the living room with me because she in her room on the phone with him. I know it's stupid because we aren't together and she has every right to be doing that, but I can't help but feel hurt and jealous. It just seems like all that stuff she told me about grieving was just an excuse because she is ready but just don't want that with me. I just feel stupid because I know I shouldn't be feeling this way, and I know it's dumb that I am, but I just can't turn off my voice in my head. How can I get rid of these feelings or overcome these feelings?
What do you think, Dylan?
I mean, I think she's just. I mean, everybody's situation is unique. That's a really crazy one that they got divorced and she had another kid and then they moved back in together. But you know, I don't know. I would just say, you know, you're old enough to find your own place, and it's really just the financial constraints, you know. And a lot of
That's
people
where toxic relationships start.
yeah, that's a lot of people are doing that nowadays, just because obviously nobody can work at McDonald's and afford to buy a house and a car and have the woman stay at home because, you know, the pay is just not there and the houses aren't $15,000 anymore. So, yeah, I think a lot of men get trapped into those relationships because, I mean, obviously he cares about his kid. Probably that's why he let her move back in, because he's like, I don't want to make her live in a bad situation, being that he has a kid with her. Any dad wants the kid to be in a stable home, but at the
Right.
same time, if she's just sleeping with him and talking to the other guy, that's like, well, y'all are back together, and he just doesn't even realize it. But and if they stop sleeping together, then that's even worse, because then he has to worry about if she's sleeping with the other ex-husband again. So, easier said than done, but I would just tell him to move the heck out of there, or her to move out. But
yeah, I'm on that dynamic. I think he made a huge mistake by moving in with his ex-wife, regardless of the reason. She is recently divorced, and the problem that I have with her being recently divorced, this is her second divorce. What's not being said is, why did the second divorce fail? Typically, when the girl leaves you for another guy and then she comes back, she realizes that you are a better fit for her needs than the guy actually left you for. Because typically women leave men 70 to 90% of the time. So she left, and that's why the divorce happened the first time. Now, I don't know why the divorce happened the second time, but if she left the second guy, then she's going back to this guy because he is more stable in the expectations that she wants. But she still has the emotional attachment to another man. The sex is rebound. There's nothing there with that. But technically, since they moved back in together, they are building this nuclear family together. They have unofficially gotten back into a relationship because there's no title on it. She has the capabilities to sleep with whoever she wants because they're not dating. Women have a better capability of separating their emotional connections with their physical ones.
Yeah, that's a scary
thing. Yeah, she can love you, but sleep with the other guy because the other guy is paying for a standard of living. Guys don't do that. Guys can sleep with a woman that they don't have as deep of an emotional connection with, but a guy is not going to feel comfortable with
his woman
being deeply in love with being deeply in love with one woman and then sleeping with another woman just because she's paying him for it. He's not going to be okay with that. His heart typically follows his junk, and her heart leads hers. It's in the reverse. But by the time a man starts sleeping with a woman, there's emotions there. We can turn ours off, but there's emotions there. So he's asking, like, how does he turn off his feelings for his ex-wife? like you said, move out, because that's the only way that you're going to turn off those feelings. And if you don't move out, you're going to start fighting in front of the kids. The other guy's kid is going to be a teenager, and that is going to be a
Right.
problem because boys fight back. You're not my dad, and you're not going to talk to my mommy like that. And that's going to be a second
Right.
issue. And then you have the boy's father. So now you've got 3 men to fight. That's too much. And in that dynamic, it is better for you because you'd be fighting your son because he's going to protect his brother, and you're going to be fighting the other guy's son, and you're going to be fighting the other guy. That's too many guys to fight. You need to find a common ground if y'all are not going to get into a relationship together. Y'all, first of all, should never have been sleeping together. Y'all should have had separate rooms on separate sides of the house, like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, or just separate houses, like for real. Y'all should not have been sleeping before y'all started sleeping together. Y'all should have had an understanding that this indicates that we are exclusive. Right. Or, I mean, if you're going to be like swingers, friends with benefits kind of thing.
Yeah, but I didn't say anything like that. Yeah.
Even if you establish that scenario, as soon as you start feeling uncomfortable with her talking to other people, you need to reassess your situation. Hey, are we going to stop sleeping together? Or, are you going to start like sleeping with this guy? Like, what's going on? And again, if you're uncomfortable, that's the time where one of y'all needs to leave. I don't know whose house it is, because he said he moved in with her, but she moved in with him. So I don't know if they just got a place together or what, but one of y'all need to go somewhere if there's an extra guy in the picture. Yeah, I mean, unless you're going to turn this into like a throuple.
It's getting overcomplicated for no reason because of the money. She probably wouldn't have even thought of moving back in with him if she didn't need a place, or whatever.
Women lose 22% of their standard of living because that came from the man. So when she left her husband, she couldn't afford to provide that lifestyle, and her ex-husband thought we could get back together. He wasn't thinking about his son. He thought, I could get back with my ex. This is my opportunity. And then when they first started getting together, he thought this was going to work out, building a good family together. Who cares about the other guy's kid because I got my wife back. Now she's talking to another guy, and then you realize she only needed him for a place to stay.
Yeah. And
a lot of men, we get into these relationships with girls where we think that she wants us for who we are, but some women, not all, but some women really actually are in that relationship for the resources provided by the man. And the only time that you can be sure that she is there for you is when you cut off the resources. If she starts getting pissy and she starts talking about leaving, she's leaving because the resources stop coming. If she starts getting concerned and she starts contributing more because you don't put in as much as you used to, she's there for you. But you're not going to know until you put it to the test. And a lot of men are afraid to put it to the test because what if she leaves? Then I got to start over. The older we get, the harder it is to start over. But do you really want to be in a house with a woman that is spending up all your money, or do you want a woman that's in the house because she really wants to be with you?
No, I mean, I honestly think it's worth it to go for it when you're young. And if you have good years, you have good years, but it's definitely not worth it to stay in a relationship, with somebody for another 10, 15, or 20 years, living a unhappy life because the stress will kill you. I mean,
that's why we die sooner.
There's plenty of men that die at heart attacks in their late 40s, early 50s, and it's just way too young. So
the hypervigilance, we have the heart pain from the knowing that she's not here for us, and then we have the emotional push and pull because sometimes we get the intimacy and sometimes we don't, and then the high levels of stress, then the fights, the arguments, the emotional, psychological manipulation that both parties do, because it's not just women, men do it in different ways, but all of that leads to the hypertension, which leads to the strokes and the heart attacks, the heart failure, and men still have the rest of society that we have to deal with as well. So that just covers, because when she has a bad time, no matter how bad I feel, I'm going to come to her rescue. But if the man has a bad time, nobody's coming to the guy's rescue. because you're not considered a man if your woman has to come to your rescue. So society would dictate that the guy's on his own, and that leads him into an early grave.
Yep.
All right, let's touch base on another one. We got, I think, 2 more.
Sounds good.
This is a good talk.
How do you know if you're the problem? I have a boyfriend. I've been with him for 3 years. I love him. It's been good, great. We've maintained a basic tone of respect, but my God, have we squabbled. I've tried to leave him 3 times. Each time he's begged and cried for me to stay, and I have. Then things are back to normal. It's an odd dynamic. I am a person with high relationship anxiety anyway. I am suffering with this man daily. He loves me. These are 3 statements I know to be true. But the 4th, he's not a good partner and I need to leave him. I don't know if this is true or if my tendencies are amplifying normal behavior. The current one issue that's bothering me is this, and I need to give you every small detail, I'm afraid, so it's going to be boring. He sometimes seems to really not enjoy my affection. Now, maybe I just want too much of it, but I don't think I do. Yesterday was like a 1-2 gut punch. He comes from a meeting. I'm excited to see him. I hug him and am excited. He sees hello. He kind of dismissively pushes past me to go to the toilet. I take the opportunity to tell him that I feel like he's been unaffectionate lately. He says he doesn't feel like he has, gives his own examples. I tell him, well, it seems to me you have. I give him 4 examples of him dismissing me from the past 24 hours, opening his phone while I was trying to tell him how much he means to me as one example. He ends up apologizing. That night, I get off work. I buy him flowers and cake, and chocolate as an I love you thing after the fight. Yay. He's thankful. I go to hug him later, and he instinctively steps away. Like, is that not odd? Your reflex is to shy away from your girlfriend's affection. You haven't seen her all day. He apologizes low level, then goes into the room to sort out Magic the Gathering cards. Is that weird? Would you overthink that? Am I just clingy? Generally, how do you tell the difference?
Dylan?
I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, it does sound like she's too clingy, but God, that's just a weird thing.
I told you we got some wild stuff going on.
Yeah, that's obviously not normal. And then the fact that she started with, oh, we've had some real, I don't know, what's the word she used about, like, real strong fights or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's crazy. I mean, you can still have arguments and stuff and disagreements, but I don't know. That's just a weird one. I don't know what to say.
Well, first she asked, is it just her, or like, who is she the problem, or is it somebody else? Is it him? And my first thought was whoever smelt it dealt it. So if you've got to ask, are you the problem? Then yeah, you're probably a huge portion of the problem.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, then I think that her comment or whatever is just completely out of nowhere. I don't think it makes any sense. Yeah. Like, she's overthinking it way too much.
Way too much. Now the next thing that she came through is she's complaining about the affection that he's giving her, but the scenarios that she's pointing out from my observation is that she just picked the wrong timing. For example, he just came in from work. She's trying to give him hugs and kisses, and he's pushing past her to go to the toilet. Well, if I had to poop, I've been holding it since I got off the job. I don't care how much you love me. I don't want this to be in my pants. So I'm going to go to the bathroom first, and then I'm going to acknowledge you after the fact. She don't got to poop right now, so she can wait and hug it out, and, Romeo and Juliet tongue down. And
it's just another one that they just bring up to start an argument, to make something where there was nothing before.
It's a sandbagging tactic that a lot of women use. But every single situation, because she's going to make it seem like the way she words it, it's inconsiderate. But the thing is that men are inconsiderate. Women are selfish and men are inconsiderate. So he wasn't thinking about how much she loved him. he was thinking about getting to this bathroom before he uses the bathroom on himself.
Right.
And the timing was just wrong. Now, had she waited until he freshened up after he got out of the bathroom and then tried that, he would have been a little bit more receptive. You can get your affection when your partner is ready to provide that, but you cannot demand affection immediately from your partner when your partner is not ready or capable of providing it for whatever circumstances. Now, the other thing I noticed is that the only other example that she gave was at the end of that example that her boyfriend or whatever is working on these Magic the Gathering cards. If he's a gamer, one thing that women do that is destructive towards their relationship, which would otherwise be a good relationship, is that she tries to prioritize herself over his hobbies, over his passions, over anything that he valued before she got there. And if she cannot prioritize herself over that, she will fight him for it. So if she met him and he used to play 6 hours of video games every day, she's now going to complain about the fact that he plays 6 hours of video games every day. But she knew that before she met him. If she knew that he had that big of a Magic the Gathering collection that he spent 2 hours in his room building decks of cards so that he could go down to the local game room and get into tournaments, then she knew that she had the kind of man that would take time out of his day to go do that. In those moments, when a man is doing the things that he likes the most, if you're not going to get in it and help him with it, that is not the moment that you distract him from it to get affection. If he wanted a hug and kiss from you, he would have put the deck down and he would have came and hugged and kissed you. If he wanted a hug and kiss from you, he would have paused his fight night and he would have came and gave you a kiss. If he wanted affection from you, he would have muted the game during the Super Bowl, came and found his woman and gave her a kiss. Usually a man would do that during the halftime show while his team is winning, but no man is going to stop enjoying his pastime to acknowledge his woman. And women do not want a man to force affection out of her when she's doing things that girls do. They would call that controlling, manipulative, overbearing, and stalkerish. Because how would a woman feel like if a man went to the salon just to go get a hug and a kiss from his woman? He's all up in the salon while she's trying to get her nails and hair and everything done so that he could come get affection from his wife. She would say that that's a little bit overbearing. And all men are going to say that if you just came and interrupted my undefeated streak on Call of Duty, like that's a little bit overbearing.
Right.
You got to get, I do have to pace myself. I should not spend 12 hours out of a day on GTA 6. But I mean, if I'm going to spend 2 hours on it, that's my 2 hours. Give me my 2 hours. The first guy on the show said, hey, I need a little bit of alone time. And during that alone time, 2 days out of the week, you don't come looking for affection. You let me be until I come look for affection. Now, in this relationship, instead of her fighting and arguing with him, they should once a week meet together, and she should be able to explain to him how she is feeling emotionally abandoned in the relationship, and then allow him to factor in times to reassure her that he still has that value in her. But it is at his discretion to express his affection for her, so she can give him a hug and a kiss on his way out for work. But if I'm the kind of man that knows that my woman is going to intercept my path out the front door, I'm going to leave sooner. Why? Because it's not going to stop her from stopping me. It's just going to prevent me from being late because she's going to stop me. So instead of me leaving at 8, because she's going to spend 10 minutes at the door with me, I'm going to leave at 7:45 so that she can get that 10 minutes at the door. I can still get in the car and still get to work on time. But that means that I have to factor in, I got to give her affection on my way out. Likewise, I have to give her affection on my way in. So I have to prepare myself to be ambushed at the door. Some men are going to love that early on in the relationship, but everybody, men and women alike, grow complacent to familiarity. So we go from enjoying it because we've never had it before to being annoyed by it because it happens too often. When we didn't have somebody cooking for us, we loved it. But now that we got somebody telling us to come sit down and eat, we're annoyed by it because we get food all the time. But now you're telling me what I can and cannot eat. That pisses me off. So we have to have balance. And a lot of relationships lack that balance because some partners get used to prioritizing their opinions, and then they forget to acknowledge the opinions of their co-partner. And that's when a relationship starts to crumble. And typically it happens when a woman is used to being in charge in a relationship, and then when a man starts taking charge late in the relationship, she gets offended by that. No man gives a damn if a woman starts being responsible, because we expect her to not be responsible. So when she starts being responsible, it's like, whew, that's one less thing I got to deal with.
Of course.
But when you start telling me I can't take the car to the shop because the oil light is on and stuff, now we got a problem. You're telling me I can't maintenance the vehicle because you want to take the car and have a girls' night out? Take the other car. This one's got to get serviced. You want to take the G-Wagon because you want to fit all your fat friends in the car. No. Take the Honda Prelude and go out there and let them catch an Uber and meet you there. Shoot. You break my axles, I got to pay for that.
Right.
But it's the principle of the fact that their selfishness for their personal expectations overrules any capabilities of uniformity and equality in a relationship, and that tips the scales of balance outside of the favor of a healthy relationship. Because again, in order for a woman to feel equal to a man, they have to oppress him in the relationship, and I don't feel like that should be a thing. They should find a way to be at his side, not on his neck. And if they can't figure that out, they need to go ahead and try to stand 2 steps behind him and let him do his thing so that she can see what's about to happen and catch his back. She could be the leader. It's fine for a woman to be the leader. But the problem with the woman being a leader is, if you are supposed to protect her from the worst things in the world, how can you do that when she's your shield?
Yeah, that makes it really hard, and especially the way that the whole feminist movement goes, where they start leading from the beginning, makes me think that it's going to make it even hard to even have the balance like you were talking about. I mean,
it would be really hard, because if she's always leading, she's going to get burned out. She's going to complain about leading, and then I can't lead because she wants to lead. So how can I allow you to take a break if you don't want me to be in charge?
Yep.
That's like working on the clock with somebody who works double overtime, and they're complaining about how tired they are, but they won't clock out and go home. It's like, bro, don't tell me how tired you are if you're not willing to clock out. Go home. I'll take over from
you. Yeah. Oh man.
You're in this position by choice, not by force. I didn't make you the leader of this squad. You chose to be here. And in this position comes excessive responsibility and a lot of collateral damage that you must clean up. And if you don't want that responsibility, please step down and let me do it, because it is my responsibility as a masculine man in this society, regardless of what I allow you to do. So if I don't do it, I am frowned upon by my society, even if you do it and you do it exceptionally well. So I got to take 2 hits, one from my wife because I let her do it, and one from my society because I let her do it.
Yeah.
So whenever you feel, go ahead.
That's why a lot of men say, like, yeah, just give her whatever she wants, because they just don't want to have the fight with the woman.
And that's not good for the relationship. That's not good for the woman either, because if you give her whatever she wants, she has destructive thoughts, you're going to give her all the destruction that she wants. And then when the chaos gets out of control, she's going to turn to you and ask you, why did you not fix this? Why didn't you stop it from happening?
Yeah.
It's a tough position to be in as a man. I've tried to get some women on the show so that they could try to give us some insight about it, but the women don't always have the courage to come to this podcast.
Well, I mean, what you see, you may get some women in here. Never know.
We have had women on the show. They didn't come on like you did, but they have come on the show. And the only thing they did when they did come on the show was talk about how I was misogynistic as a man for having the opinions that I had. But I explained to them, please validate your concerns. Like, tell me what you think. And they didn't have any opinions. We did have a few women that came in and they co-signed on what I had to say about things. And they came from a very highly educated scenario. Actually, I think I still have the saying from one of the women that was on the show when she was talking about Victoria B, when she talked about the value of a woman. And she said that from the beginning, as God created a woman for the man and the man for a woman, she said that it is the woman's position to nurture the man in all aspects, physically, emotionally, and a woman must also possess some kind of wisdom and enlightening to help refine the man as a man and to instill in their kin to be successors. And I was like, whoa, that's like the most empowering thing that I've heard from a woman, because that's back when I was asking women the standard question: what do you do to deserve? What do you bring to the table to deserve what you get from your man? Yep. And most women can't answer that question, you know. But if you flip it on the other side and ask a woman, what does her man do for her? Period. They can go down a scroll. It's like the Star Trek episode. Like there's a scroll just rolling down the screen like credits of everything that a man does for a woman from the first date, from the first time I think this might turn into something. He's making sure she's not cold, making sure she's not sick, making sure she's fed, make sure she get home safe, calling her, checking on her. You know, make sure she don't hit her head on the table. Make sure she don't slip and fall. We pulling out chairs so that she don't fall off the chair. We open the door so that she don't walk into the door. Like some of us, especially back in the day, we used to cover the water pedal so her feet didn't get wet. You know, we go the extra mile within the first 48 hours. What she did showed up. So I asked women, what do y'all do for a man to deserve what y'all get from him? And that's when women are like, I can't touch this podcast because this ain't a red pill, blue pill, black pill podcast. This is a podcast of uniformity. You want to be valued and respected by your man, and I strongly agree with that. But men want to be valued and respected by their women. So if you can go down a list, if you've got a boyfriend or a husband, and you can go down a list of things that your man do for you that you are proud of, can you go down a list side by side and match him and all the things that you do for him that he should be proud of? Most women can't. I don't understand why. They just can't. So when the men start complaining, it's not because the women are bad women. It's because they forgot in this relationship that they have a duty to their husbands and their boyfriends that their boyfriends and their husbands have for them. It's a symbiotic relationship. So once one partner slips and stops focusing on the other partner, that's when the balance tips. Yep. And if you don't remember, because there's no making up for it, you just have to remember, oh, damn, I forgot my partner. Let me start showing some value to my partner, compliment them on some of the things that they do, tell them how much I love them, tell them how much I appreciate them, take time off and take them places so that they know, so that they remember, so that I can remind them that they are important to me. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You're supposed to do that, not just on Christmas, Valentine's Day, 4th of July, and Easter and stuff. Like literally 2-3 times a month, 4 times a week, you got to prioritize your partner in less expensive, more meaningful ways so that you can be a little bit more consistent. Do things like go buy you a stack of cue cards and just write all kinds of romantic messages on them and leave them hidden all over the house and in the car and stuff like that. I used to do things like go buy that little $3 rose from the gas station when I put gas in the car and leave it on the dashboard of the car, and then take the other car and go somewhere with it. When she comes back to get in the car that's full of gas, there's a rose on the car. Even if you didn't see me that day, you know I was there and you know that I care because there's a rose on the car. There's the little things that you can do to show them that they're important. That does not, Jesse wants to call in. He says a woman must help boys and their husbands. Finding principles should come from the man. I agree with that. If you want to jump in, Jesse, you can jump in too. Hold on, let me give you something to jump in, Jesse, because we got a couple more of these in here that we're going to go through. But yeah, the one of the things that the women are forgetting is that they could, in fact, show more appreciation for the man. And then the men are retaliatory. That's one of the things that women forget. Men are retaliatory. So if you give us what we're looking for, we're going to reciprocate. Not while we're playing video games, not while we're playing with our trading cards,
Right.
not while we have to go to the bathroom, not while we're watching a game, not during WrestleMania, not during the Super Bowl, not on John Cena's last match. These are scenarios in life where it's a blackout zone for exclusive male engagement. Now, after that match, after that special event, of course, I have no problem with getting you all the love and affection that you want. But don't stand in front of the TV when I'm drinking beers with my buddy, watching the game that he came all the way over here to watch so that I can acknowledge you now. That is inappropriate. You could come behind us, give me a kiss on the cheek, or something like that. You know, if I get up to go in the kitchen and go and get us some beers instead of me asking you to do it, which would be showing my wife some respect. While I'm in the kitchen, I can give you some affection while I'm in the kitchen, getting me and my homeboy something to drink. But at the same time, you're not supposed to hold me hostage in the kitchen and have me missing the event that he came over for. And that is mutual respect. I mean, I can't think of a lot of the activities that women got going on that a man actually wants to intervene in. But we have guys that will go to operas. We have guys that'll join book clubs. We have guys that'll be the yoga, Pilates, that be the only man in a room to show his woman support on whatever she values. Now, if she wants to put on the team jersey of the boyfriend or the husband and sit there and root for the team and be part of the game, yeah, that's fine. But don't stop us from being us, because no woman wants a man to stop her from being her. That's my dynamic. Jesse, if you want to click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera, you can jump in here with Dylan if you want to get on. If you want to call in. He said, gotta go, guys. Gotta be up soon Monday. Take care, everyone. I appreciate you coming by, man. If you, because we do got a couple of more here. So I appreciate you coming in. And feel free to dive in again, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about the chaos with the people getting shot by ISIS. And then Monday is going to be a tough day. And then we're going to be talking about the layoffs that happened during the shutdown. Yeah, but it's not related to the shutdown. It just happened during the shutdown, where they downsized because of AI technology growth. So they're firing. The better that artificial intelligence gets, the more humans that are making the artificial intelligence get fired. So we're going to be talking about that and some ways to pay attention to your severance package and how to devolve from that. And then Tuesday we're going to be talking about some stock options. So if you want to dive back in any day during the week, feel free to let me know, and I'll pull you right on in here, buddy.
All right. Take care, everybody.
You have a good night. We're going to continue on as Dylan steps out for the night. Have a good night, Dylan.
I just found out my mom has been sending my girlfriend cruel messages for who knows how long. I don't know how to handle this. M36/F32. Generally, not much rattles me. My friends call me a stoic, emotionally constipated idiot. And they're not wrong. Which is why we're all still a little stunned that the love of my life is basically my opposite. I've been with my girlfriend for 8 years, known her for 10. She's quiet, gentle, brilliant, an actual whole-ass professor, and genuinely one of the kindest people I've ever met. She's silly, shy, goofy in the best ways, and loves to poke fun. I love all of it. I love her more than I've ever loved anyone ever in this lifetime. But last night, something happened that I can't let go of. My phone was charging, so I was scrolling Instagram reels on hers like I usually do. One of her friends met her. Normally I'd send back some dumb reaction photo, so they know it's me, just a thing in our circle. But it wasn't a joke. It was screenshots my girlfriend had sent her friend, and the friend was trying to comfort her. I hesitated, then opened the screenshots to read better. And I'm glad I did. I don't even regret it anymore, because what I saw were multiple messages from my mother. Cruel ones. And the timestamps weren't all from the same day. So I don't know how long this has been happening. A week? Longer? No idea. Some of the messages my mom sent. Maybe he hasn't proposed because you haven't given him a child.
Men don't marry placeholders. Most recent. This one makes me see red. I can't even imagine how my baby felt. If you stopped dressing like a teenage boy and put on some makeup, maybe he'd see you as a wife instead of one of his little friends. You're keeping him from his family. He used to visit. For clarity, I'm the one who pulled back because of her behavior toward one of my sisters. That's a whole other issue. So nothing to do with my girlfriend. You think you're special? You're lucky he even brought you home. Girls like you don't get commitment from men like him. Like, what the hell is this? You're not good enough for the life he deserves. Reading them made my stomach drop. They were hateful and completely false. There's even more, but these were the ones seared into my brain. And my girlfriend didn't tell me about any of them. She's just been carrying this alone, smiling, laughing with me, all while this garbage was sitting in the back of her mind. My girlfriend avoids conflict. She hates upsetting anyone. I get it. It's easier to talk to a friend first, and my mom can be intense. She probably didn't want to put me in a position where it looked like choosing sides. But I've chosen, and it's not her I'm angry with. I'm furious at my mother. I'm exhausted by this. She knows how much my girlfriend means to me. She hears me talk about her constantly. I really thought she might actually be happy for me. At the same time, I don't want to make this harder on my girlfriend or make her feel exposed. So here's where I need advice. Do I tell my girlfriend gently that I saw the messages, that I'm on her side, and she doesn't need to shield me from my own mother? Or do I handle my mother privately and not bring it up unless my girlfriend does? I just want her to feel safe and supported. And it makes me sick that she's been dealing with this alone. I mean, actually sick. I'm just watching her make breakfast, and what's the best approach that prioritizes her well-being first?
All right. How you doing, Jesse? Good to see you today.
Hey, what's up?
I'm hanging in there, man.
Nice.
So what do you think about this?
I thought, based on the options that were given there at the end, I'd say handle privately. You always want to. I think it's better to handle things, especially a matter like that, to handle things individually with your spouse and then individually with your mother. It's always a danger having your wife deal with your mother. The mother-in-law is always seen as Satan in their eyes, and you're better off dealing with these things individually. And for his case, to say I've seen these texts or I've seen these messages, don't ever say that. You're better off just saying, I understand. You're better off saying, I'll speak with my mother. It's better to handle things individually. And I appreciate talking with you. It's I've been a viewer. I'm a fan. I think you're an intelligent guy.
Oh man, I've been doing my best. Over the past few years, I've been doing everything I can to make sure that I bring you guys the most informative information possible. I curate it, I check it, I double check it, I triple check it, I try to check it right before the show. Causes me to step in here late some of the times because I have to update numbers when I start talking about the stock options and investment opportunities. And it is a huge challenge, but I love it. I love what I do. I love sharing this knowledge and information with you guys. And it is common knowledge that most people could access, but the internet is so full of everything that we get information overload and we just stop looking for stuff. Then we end up with tunnel vision and we only focus on the stuff that entertains us in the moment. And we stop thinking about all of the opportunities that we have in life and all of the different ways that we can improve our life. So I'm glad to know that you're still a fan and you've been here for a long time, because I remember you from way back when, and then you stopped commenting and I was like, well, people come and they go. You'll circle back eventually. But when you came back the other day and you were telling me how much you benefited from some of the information I gave you, I was ecstatic because I changed the way I live life based on the information that I found. And then I just started sharing this information with everybody else. And I am super ecstatic to know that you benefited from it as well.
Absolutely. It's you know, the first time I came across you, like I said, I was trolling. I was messing with all kinds of people as I was scrolling through YouTube, and you took it on the chin. You thought, you handled it well. You laughed back, and I thought, okay, this guy can take a joke. I'll hear him out on what he's saying, and you seem pretty level-headed. I'm a little bit more interested in the political side of things. I know you seem a little more left-leaning. How would you describe your politics?
Logic. I can't. I don't even know which side is left. I know that if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to question it. I believe that from my political side of things is that you should vote in the best way that it fits your money. You shouldn't vote Democrat because you're a Democrat or vote Republican because you're a Republican. You should look at the policies and how the policies change the way you make, save, and invest money. And then you vote to keep your money in your pocket. Or if you don't have enough money coming into your pocket, vote to put more resources into your household to subsidize the money that you don't have in your pocket. But you shouldn't vote specifically because you know who the politician is, or specifically because you claim to be from a specific political party, because voting Republican doesn't change your household, but voting for the policies that took away your benefits changes your household. Voting for a policy that takes away from your rights changes your household. So anybody who voted for a politician that puts restrictions on guns and you have a house full of guns, if you vote for a politician that takes away from your right to have choices about your kids, if you have a politician that you like, this generation, more than 75% voted for Trump, and now we have people not being able to have their LGBTQ rights that they had prior to him being in the office. But he said in Project 2025 that he was going to put a stop to stuff like that and bring it back to the traditional Make America Great Again standards. So if you know that same-sex marriage and sex changes and all of these things were frowned upon in the 40s, and he said he's going to bring it back to that era, if you are part of that community and you vote for him, you're voting against your interests.
Totally disagree. So two things. First, I want to ask you a bigger question, but to the point that you're making
that as a
there,
hypothetical that you would be. I was saying that you would be voting against your interests if that's what's happened. If you voted for a person that's going to push that, and then
right. But here's the thing. Here's the problem with that. Trump is the first president to be elected into office supporting gay marriage. Barack Obama didn't support gay marriage. George Bush didn't support gay marriage. Bill Clinton didn't support gay marriage, and every president before that didn't support gay marriage. It wasn't until Trump that a president was elected supporting gay marriage while they were elected into office. But it
wasn't Trump.
The transgender issue is a whole separate thing. I mean, they like to throw the transgender thing into the same category as the sexual stuff.
Right,
I view it completely different.
He shut down a judge who was putting a stop to the gay marriage thing. So I mean, I'm not against Trump. Most of the things that he has done so far over the past 11 months.
But imagine that Trump was the judge. Do you think that Trump is making anti-gay marriage rulings? I don't think that's Trump's agenda.
No, that's not his agenda. It just happened while he was in office. No.
Well, and you're saying that maybe he's appointing judges that are not putting through what he wants.
Hypothetically, Donald Trump said that he was going to make changes towards that multi-gender scenario, which he did. And
right.
Anybody
I think as we should. I mean, it's getting totally out of control.
Ridiculous. Way out of control. But what I'm saying is that if you were part of the group of people that benefited from that multi-gender scenario, and you're voting for a man that's going to put a stop to that, then you are voting against your own personal benefit. That's what I was saying.
I don't think so, though. I mean, unless you're a total non-binary freak, you're not voting against your interests unless you're.
But if you were a non-binary freak and you were the kind of person that voted for somebody who says, okay, we're going to go straight down the middle and have a he or a she, that's it. All of the extra pronouns are out of the picture now, and you're going to vote for him anyway because you're Republican. You're not voting for your best interest. You're voting because you're Republican. And what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that
No, but
Republican
you could be voting for the best interest of 99.8% of people.
will vote against you. You're right.
No, I'm saying that the non-binary thing, obviously that crowd is for Kamala and Walz, and
the only thing you would have got out of Kamala would have been the $1 million for the small quantity of African American people that were born in 1965.
I mean, I think she wouldn't have delivered on anything. Like I get the feeling that none of the wars would have ever been coming to a close. She was the corporate candidate. She and Tim Walz were the people that were going to keep the wars going. She says she wants the Epstein stuff out now, as if she didn't have power a couple of years ago.
When she was the vice president, she could have put it out then.
Of course, her and Joe Biden, but of course, and I don't think Joe Biden was on that island, but I mean, he's a dirty guy himself.
My thought is that and this is one of the biggest issues that when people question my political position is so much more neutral, but a lot of times I see myself more at least over the past 11 months like promoting the Republican side of things, because the stuff it makes no sense the way things are, and I would be identified as a voter as a Democrat, but at the same time I'm like, wait, when he dismantled programs that are wasting money and not benefiting people, that made sense.
Right. One of the things I wanted to ask you was kind of, what do you think the purpose of government is? Because, I mean, if we look at the federal government, like you're just saying there's so much waste. There's so much there's so much bullshit that these politicians just insert for themselves, where it's, kickbacks, and they're funding jobs for their kids, and there's just billions of dollars going out the door. And then, the Pentagon, the military, that's its own beast to take on too. What do you think the purpose of the government is, and how do you think they take on the beast that is funding all of it?
Well, the only way you're going to take on the beast is to have high turnovers. Technically, you're only supposed to do a 2-year term. It's almost like jury duty. You're supposed to go in there, do your part, and then leave, and somebody else is supposed to take over. But because the average American does not know nor believes that they belong in Washington, in the White House, in the Senate or the Congress, they don't put their years in. Some people put more time in avoiding jury duty than to put in their term as a jury duty. But when you're the one sitting there in an orange jumpsuit and shackles with your public defender that you couldn't afford to pay for, you were hoping that some people with some sense are sitting over here able to vote in your favor because your livelihood depends on it. When you're on the other end of the spectrum, when you're on the receiving end of the decision, you're hoping that somebody shows up. But when you're on the deciding side of things, you don't want to make a decision. The average American does not have the motivation to take charge of their own life, much less take charge of the country. And that's the reason why about 800 people out of the entire 160-something million people, 180-something million people, 380-something million people are taking over the country. The reason why a select few are able to have the kickbacks and have the underhanded deals and the backdoor antics and hidden budgets that only a select few quantity of people know about it. When those people leave office, that money is locked up because nobody knew that it was there. And what they were using it for when they were in office, nobody knows. Blacklist information. The fact is that in order for you to better regulate it, you would have to have higher turnovers, because for one person that's supposed to be in a position for 2 years is in that position for 40 years. They can establish relationships, they can establish agendas, and now they're not acting in the best interest of their constituents. They're acting in the best interest of themselves. And the decisions that are being made are
here's
not
one idea. So you're talking career politicians, people that have been in there for term after term after term, making money, Obviously, knowing in on stock investments and whatnot, people that are gaming in on the system, people that are have been in DC for far too long. One idea that I have that I'd like to see implemented around the country, I think congressmen should only be allowed to take money from their own district. That means that they can't be taking lobbyist money from DC. I want to see that the senators can only take money from their states. I want to see that the state representatives can only take money from their district. And then that way, everything becomes much cheaper. It becomes cheaper to be able to run. The average person would be able to get involved in politics in a much more meaningful way because the campaign finance system would be designed for the average person to be involved because you're limited to your area. Obviously, there's going to be some rich people that still want to get involved and make their voice heard. And almost they should be rewarded for being able to be a successful person, being able to run, being able to put their name out there. Being rich isn't necessarily a bad thing. In a lot of cases, it means that people have done something right. But
or you inherited it.
There's that too, of course. But basically what I'm saying is I'd like to see the campaign finance system limited in a way that you can only collect money of the people within your district for whatever office you're running for.
I think
what
that
do you
would
think
make
about
it a
that?
lot more fair for more people to be able to run, because one of the things that most of us acknowledge at the beginning of deciding to run for office is that we don't know nobody, we don't have no connections, and there's no way that we can think of off the top of our heads to raise $2 billion for a political campaign. And
Right.
that would discourage the average person from running. But I do believe that if there was limitations to the quantity of funds that a person was allowed to have for their campaign, that would make a lot more sense. And it would limit the distribution. While it wouldn't remove it altogether, it would limit the distribution of dark money that typically controls the political campaigns. Because I
Right.
mean,
You're
one of the
talking
reasons why
super
Trump,
PACs and all of that because you're right.
yeah,
The dark money is controlling things, and the Supreme Court has gone against Citizens United, and that's a problem more with the conservative judges. And the conservative judges need to realize what's going on with the system that's happening around them because the system is bought out to the highest donor. And
I
it's
almost
on
got
both
blocked for
sides.
saying
It's
that.
on both sides. I lean a little bit more on the Republican side. I lean more conservative, but I go after the Republican side just as much too because I think a lot of them are total phonies. But at the same time, when I look at Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I think that they would have been the worst leadership our country has ever seen.
I
And
don't know about the worst, but I know that it would have been pretty bad.
I mean, Joe Biden was a puppet. Joe Biden was out to
I
lunch.
don't
He
even
didn't
know
know
who
what
was
was going
running the
on.
country when Biden was in office.
And it
Who
wasn't
actually made
Kamala.
the
That's the
decision?
thing. Kamala was going to be another puppet too. I didn't want a puppet.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know who was making decisions when Biden was in office, because I mean, he
Well,
clearly
he
did
had some
not have.
top advisors. It was his Secretary of State was one of them, Tony Blinken. But all of his senior advisors that none of these people were elected.
Right,
But those
and
are the people
that's
that
the
were making
argument.
decisions.
That's the argument. The president wasn't making the decisions. The advisors were making the decisions, and
Right.
that's not healthy for the country. I mean,
And
while a
that's
lot of
why I
people don't
couldn't
like
have
what Trump is
Kamala
doing,
because
Trump makes his own.
I think Kamala it was the same exact thing and maybe even worse. I think she was less of a real person than Joe Biden.
She lost my vote when she was arguing about the transparency about the plane, and I'm sitting over here thinking about, like, ma'am, if you don't use your card on the plane, you ain't got nothing to pay
The transparency on what?
for. She had part of her campaign about when you're traveling, you've got the extra stuff, the amenities that are added to the bill when you're traveling, flying, and getting hotels, and they add extra stuff on the back end of the bill, and they don't tell you what they're adding it on for. And she wanted to pass a law to focus exclusively on making sure that before you're adding something to your bill, that they explain to you that this comes at a cost. I covered a whole show about this right before I covered the dark money scenario, and I there's so many red flags that hit my podcast because of it. Like every platform warned me of political dishonesty.
So did you think that it was going to raise costs for airplanes or something?
No, I think that it's going to cause a bunch of crap for the people who are trying their best to do their jobs, because for her political position was misguided. Because yes, I do believe
it's just more regulation.
Oh yeah, but it's going to be more regulations. So if I'm flying on a plane, I paid for the seat that I'm sitting in. If you offer me coffee, that's not necessarily free. So if I ask for 3 cups of coffee and you charge it to my card, I mean, she's saying you should tell me before I get the coffee that I'm going to have to pay for this. You should know that you only paid for the seat. You should know that before you got on the plane. So why are you forcing the steward to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, the coffee is $1.75 a cup. Are you sure you want it?" I mean, come on.
See.
You buy a hotel room. You've got a mini bar. The mini bar is not free. Everyone knows that.
Oh yeah, well, and that's the thing. I think that Kamala hasn't been in the real world in a long time, and I think that she had a lot of ideas that were not realistic in practice, and she would have been a total disaster. I couldn't imagine her negotiating with some of the top world leaders. I mean, you look at Vladimir Putin, you look at Xi Jinping. These are people who are at the top of their game, who are ready to strike at any single moment. And then imagine Kamala Harris, who would be giving a word salad in a press conference and then be running away from the media because she couldn't do a press conference. At least with Trump, Trump isn't perfect, but at least with Trump, he deals with the media and he owns them. He puts it right back at them.
When I looked at one of her campaigns and she had those women out there shaking their behinds during a press conference, first time this has ever happened.
In Texas.
And I lost respect in that scenario, because you should not have a female president promoting female pride in a masculine environment of leadership, having women devalue themselves on stage right before she starts talking about how we should push more abortion laws, which takes away rights from men. I'm sitting over here looking, this is a lot of double negatives. This is the worst.
Well, that's the thing. I'm in Minnesota, and in Minnesota, Tim Walz totally lied throughout that entire vice presidential debate. Did you watch that VP debate between Tim Walz and JD Vance?
I turned it off.
Okay, but you definitely probably saw the beginning then, where Tim Walz had those like deer in headlights eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is a total joke. I mean, he was supposed to be the closer for the Democrats, and instead he was the joke.
Why didn't they? I don't know. Obama wasn't going to do it again.
Here's why. I'll tell you why he got chose. It's because Kamala got along with him best. That was the standard. That was the standard that she used. And here's the thing. She said that she had 36 hours or whatever to choose between her, Tim Walz, Josh Shapiro, and someone else. I think she, obviously she said, we can't do Pete because he's gay. She said Mark Kelly, the Arizona senator. It was between the three of them. Obama wanted Mark Kelly, but she chose Tim Walz because she got along with Tim the best. And then, obviously conservatives say that Josh Shapiro was the best choice. He's the governor of Pennsylvania, who is considered to be a little bit more moderate. He's a Jewish guy. He signed bombs with Zelensky that, we're going to kill Russians. I'm not sure that would have been appealing to the average American voter, signing bombs. Right. That's a move that Nikki Haley did too. Some of these people do these things and you think, do you really think that it's going to appeal to us? Because I don't want someone signing bombs. I think that seems crazy.
but that was what I was saying when you first asked me about my political position, is that we don't pay attention to these details when
Right.
we're selecting our people. We're going off of
Vibes.
who we know or the political party we represent, and we're not actually voting like, hey, that guy is not going to benefit us signing bombs. We don't need that. We need somebody that's going to be promoting change and improvement, and we should be voting for the change and improvement. And that's why when you were asking me earlier what I thought, that's why I gave that example. But the only people that I had on the top of my head that were complete opposites of what they were voting for was Trump and Kamala Harris, because Trump is doing a lot more things than what people who hate Trump expected him to do. But the people who voted for him, who are fixated in certain areas that they're not going to benefit with some of the immediate changes he's going to make, but his changes are going to have long-term benefits. So, for example, recently we had this issue where there's supposed to be some dismantling of some of the healthcare situations. He said he was going to privatize healthcare. And if you have a free healthcare plan that's being paid for by the government, if you're voting for somebody who's going to stop that you're just not voting for your own interest. I'm not saying that what he's doing is wrong. I'm saying that if you pay attention to what benefits you in life, and then you pay attention to what this person is planning on doing when they get into office, if what he's planning on doing contradicts the way you want to live your life, you shouldn't be voting in that direction. But
Yeah,
if
but
you have to make
you can't vote
sacrifice,
entirely based on your life. Obviously, with some of the tariffs, you have to understand
I was just about to get
some
into that.
prices will go up.
You have to
There's
make some
gives and
sacrifices.
takes.
That's just what I was about to go into. There are some gives and takes. So if you recognize that some of the things that you might lose voting for this guy is better or is worth it for some of the things that you're going to gain by voting for the same person, then you take
Mhm.
that L and you go ahead and vote for the person that's going to do you the most benefit. But each individual person is supposed to be voting on how this is going to impact their life, because I can't vote for you. I can't vote for your family. You can't vote for me and my family. You can only vote
Right.
for what you know and how you experience. And it just voting because that person's name or you've seen them on TV a couple times, that's not making a sound decision. But as deeply as you know about the policies that these people do, their practices, their decision making while they're in office or while they're in their political position, and you're like, wait, whoa, if we give them a higher authority position, they're probably going to be more destructive than what they already have been. You're being able to say, look, I don't want my country to go to war because this guy is autographing stuff that he shouldn't be autographing. And that
Okay,
makes
here's the question: Do you think that our country was going to have a civil war if they would have actually tried to send Trump to prison? Because that's probably what Kamala Harris's win would have meant. Trump goes to prison, and our country goes to civil war.
we're going to go to civil war anyway.
But Kamala
just
Harris
not
would
gonna
have
be
brought it
because
about under her administration then.
No doubt. The way that let's look at the fact that they marched on Washington once. Now imagine this man going to prison as long as Diddy's going to prison. They would have burned the country to the ground. Like every Trump supporter in every state around the
Well,
country.
but the problem is more not you shouldn't get mad at the supporters. You should say, what is Kamala Harris doing trying to send him to prison? That's unjust.
She's a one-sided position, though. She's not doing it for the greater good of everyone. Her one of the things, I stopped at it because we only talked about the flight thing, but the only things that she was actually promoting was Black people getting money, women getting abortions.
I know, but we know all the underlying things that she was
tax.
Right, but
it's
all the underlying
one-sided.
things was Trump goes to prison forever. That's one of the major things.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so the four political positions she had was Trump goes to prison forever. Men don't get choices in whether or not they can be fathers. And then Black people get money, and then the show us what's on the bill when we fly.
Right.
That's all one-sided scenarios. That's not doing a justice for the entire country. Those are not policies that benefits everyone. Each one of those benefits a select few.
Right.
Trump's policies are broad spectrum policies. eliminating the confusion. You throw down tariffs. That's going to reduce costs. It's going to increase costs, but it's going to reduce costs over time because it's going to pay towards the deficit.
Right.
He's dismantled programs that are wasting money and not benefiting the average person. But we're pissed off because of the title of the company. Because when you dismantle the Department of Education, everybody believes, oh, we're not going to have an education system now. But the Department of Education does not do anything for education. And then I reminded everybody that, hey, public education is a government funded nonprofit entity, which means that every person that donates to their local public school and gets a voucher for that, they can file it on their taxes and get a tax deduction on it. So why are we not spending more money on public school than what we pay for private school? Because private school is not a tax deduction, but public school is.
And those tax subsidies are totally a scam. The where people are paid money from the government tax dollars to be given. This is implemented in all kinds of red states to give private tax dollars or to give tax dollars to people who are sending their kids to private schools. Of course, they should have the right to send their kids to private schools. Nobody should ever try to take that right away from people. But the issue is that tax dollars are going to fund that. And we're seeing that
should be funding the public schools.
Right, exactly. Those dollars should be going to public schools. And people that are sending their kids to private schools don't have to bear the cost of public schools. When they send their kids to private schools, they're bearing the cost of private schools.
Right.
So they definitely shouldn't be implementing any kind of system like that.
When he starts tearing these things down, it starts making sense, but people are pissed off about it. And I asked myself, well, hold on, like when he stopped the student loans, he put caps on student loans. People are going into debt, going into bankruptcy. The government is losing money on that because people can't pay it back. He's putting a cap on that. Then he bounced back with implementing a new system, giving the newborns the $1,000 at birth that everybody who knows the kid can invest in. By the time the child is grown, there could be a decent, it could be like $3,000, but if everybody chips in on it, the child could have a decent quantity of capital there that they can take out at the age of 18 and either pay for their college education or put a down payment on their house. If parents stop using their kids to turn on the lights and the water when they got the lights and water cut off in their name and ruin their kids' credit before their kids are 16, then their kids would have good credit at 18, which will qualify for a first-time home buyer. And if you had $15,000 in a account that was started at birth, which most poor people don't have to the ability to do, you can buy your first house at 18. You could buy a 4-bedroom house and put your family into it, and then your parents don't have to pay rent. They can pay your mortgage, and now you've got a house. It's the stuff that he did makes sense, but it's stuff that this year it's not going to benefit us this year, but it's stuff that needs to get done so that 5, 10, 20 years down the line that we have a better direction to go in. So I'm not knocking the guy. Every decision that he's made has in no way, shape, or form that I've seen been racist to any regard. It's just business. It's financial improvement, and the financial improvement comes at a cost. You have to take sacrifices. When you pay off a loan, your credit score dips, but when you take out a new loan, your credit score dips, and then it spikes because you got a mixed line of credit there. It's the same thing as when Trump turns off something and turns something else on. You have to take the hit for the thing being turned off so that you can benefit from the thing that's being turned on. The sovereign wealth fund that he's supposed to be putting together soon, that is supposed to go into practice, that is going to generate a level of revenue from the government that may eliminate the need for taxation, where people can keep their money in their pockets and still whatever government benefits that are going around will still be going around. That wouldn't happen ever unless somebody starts doing it now. So the point is that while 70% of the country or more voted for the guy, and the guy is, in my opinion, doing a good job with the decisions that he's making, it is not every decision is going to benefit everybody, and people can't blame society and blame the government when they're not willing to be part of the government. They're not willing to be part of the society. They're not willing to put forth their own efforts. into making the change and making the improvements in their local cities and states, in their neighborhoods, because you can get into your local government just by applying. Ironically, even in some situations with a criminal record, you could be an impact in your government if you tried. Not too many people want to try. They complain at the courthouse while they're on trial, and they complain on the street after trial, but nobody wants to try to get into the political atmosphere and start trying to make some kind of change. And I think that is the issue that I have. Because the only reason why the government is so corrupt is because we allowed a select few people to stay in the same spot. But all it took was for you to take one group out, put another group in, and you see all kinds of change. Look at the shutdown. That shutdown would only have been a week at best if Congress's paycheck did not exist during the shutdown. The Congress gets paid when nobody else gets paid.
Yeah.
So don't you think that they would have been able to work out their differences if they didn't have a paycheck either?
Oh yeah. No, if they would have been in a position where they aren't getting a paycheck, that deal would have been worked out probably immediately, because those
The
people are
29th of
so
September.
greedy. And a few of them are so rich they can just sit on it, but I mean, that whole deal was worked out beforehand. Trump kind of already caved in and didn't accept conservative demands by basically spending things at Biden levels to try to get Democrat votes. The Democrats first didn't cave, and then they did. 8 of them did. They accepted the deal. Chuck Schumer is a failed leader at this point. Hakeem Jeffries is a failed leader at this point. As far as the metrics of what the Democrats would want, I'm not even saying that I am a Democrat, but if I were a Democrat, I would expect much better out of these Democrat leaders, and I expect certain things that are better out of Trump. However, I think that
I've seen
Trump
some
has
stupid stuff come
delivered.
out of some Democratic leaders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Chuck Schumer is a total joke. He's probably going to be primaried and defeated by AOC in 2028 or 2030, whenever he's running. I think he's got no shot. Who do you think is going to be president, or who would you like for president in 2028, or are you still waiting to see who's out there?
Well, I heard that there's supposed to be a third term capability going on. I don't know how true that is.
Oh, you mean with Trump?
Yeah, I heard that there's a third term capability, and if that is the case, I would expect him to finish what he started.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. He's going to be 82, I think, at the end of the term. He likes to tease the Democrats, I think, about it, and I think it's more that he likes to mess with people.
But I mean, but even if it is possible at 82, I don't. It depends on how well his wits are at 82. But if he has the capability to make it at 86, I'd like to see him finish what he started, because if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And he is the only president in the history of presidents that has come from an exclusively financial perspective.
Yeah,
that's what I see. He's the only one. Everyone else has a personal agenda. Even Obama. I love Obama, but
right. Did you ever watch The Apprentice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I like that show.
I also noticed that Donald Trump invested in the Miss America pageant before it became popular. He also invested in the WWE before it became popular, and now the WWE is owned by TKO. He was there at the beginning of everything that we thought was and then it became some of the best things in our history, in our childhood, and he was there on the ground floor.
Right.
He saw
Home
an
Alone.
opportunity and he took advantage of it from the very beginning. And now he sees an opportunity and he's taking advantage of it. He's pushing the limits of presidential authority. And whatever he can do, he's going to try to force it to happen because he's supposed to be the highest level of authority. And he's pushing that envelope to see exactly how much he's capable of doing. And until they can show him that there is a rule or a law that says he can't do that, he's going to do whatever he believes is the best thing.
Okay, here's the thing. I would love a Trump 2028 just as much, but standard wisdom would tell us otherwise.
At
So
82, he's going to be too old. He's not going to have.
so that means that JD Vance is likely the GOP nominee. I mean,
next
unless somebody can pose something major to overthrow him, which I don't see happening.
I don't see it. But that's what I was saying. So if JD Vance, under the wing of Trump, is learning the reasons why and the things to do, when Trump steps down, JD Vance steps up, he should be able to continue where Trump started and at least finish that first 8 years that is necessary to make real change for the next 25 years. Now, clearly, I'm going to be in my late 60s, early 70s by the time the benefits of this change happens. And you and I both know that the president in office at the time that the country is doing well is going to take full credit for that and probably get a second term as a result. But you and I also know that an executive order lasts for about 25 years. So in order for us to give credit where credit is due, we would be in our late 60s, early 70s saying, no, this year is good because Trump did it in 2025. We would be in 2040 talking about 2045 saying that this year is good because of what Trump did in 2025 when all hell broke loose. But we do got to deal with things like Chicago, and Trump did that too. Chicago is not.
I mean, I like the ICE raids. I like the deportations. I like holding these cities to account. These cities for far too long have been letting the criminals roam. They've been letting the criminals just rape and pillage, and then they get out of the jails within 20 minutes.
It's not the ICE raids to the people that don't belong here. My objection is how they're treating the American people while they're out there doing these ICE raids.
I know, but the protesters they know they're being what's the word for it? They know they're being objective. They know that they're getting in the way. They're trying to cause a problem. They're not there for something legitimate. And maybe they think they're for something for a social justice cause, but in reality, ICE is just going to do the thing. And if there's something wrong, document it, bring it to the court. Do things the correct way. I'm so sick of people blocking streets and doing nonsense. It's
burning
undermining
your city
their
down
causes.
Because you don't like what's going on. I don't understand why you destroy the best parts of your own neighborhood because you're pissed off. I feel like that is misdirected rage and that is unnecessary behavior.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna loot and other things. But my concern is not just because when protesters misbehave in the streets, that agitates already overly aggressive individuals, because the police and the military are people too, but they have come from different walks of life. Our worst day is stepping in dog poop. Their worst day is being shot at by an 8-year-old. So, and then they have to kill that 8-year-old, and we do have to think about the trauma that they bring to work with them every day that they don't work through. And then we start picketing in the streets and start throwing rocks at their car. And then they PTSD out and then they start acting irrational. But the concern that I have is when they're arresting citizens, not for protest, not for interfering with police business, because I believe that if you didn't do what you were supposed to do in that situation and you get locked up, that's on you. They're scooping up the wrong people in the sweep. And then instead of them recognizing that this person is not part of the sweep, they hold them for 3-4 days in a black site and then let them go. And I think that you should know your targets before you go out there. Now, I also believe that the American people should recognize that while that's your homeboy from way back when, if his papers ain't right, that's like if my brother got a warrant. I am not supposed to interfere with that. It is time for you to come get him. I've been telling them, turn yourself in. If you don't turn yourself in, bro, they're going to come and get you. And I am not going to stop them from coming to get you because we both be in jail, because that's interfering with police business. We're not supposed to do that. But I think that the way that they're behaving, waving guns around at the people who are unarmed just because they're holding cell phones recording the situation, I think that level of behavior needs to stop. I think that shooting people in the streets they need to calm down with that. If they've got to go on some kind of hiatus, let the civil unrest go die down a little bit, and then do a massive sweep on specific addresses that they know where these targets are, and go get them. That there's a better way than to be riding through the streets of protesters, further antagonizing protesters by pointing guns at the protesters that are already frustrated. I don't think
I agree that there's a better way of doing this thing, of being a little bit more selective and trying to do things in a way that wouldn't even gather protests in the first place. The problem is that when you're doing big sweeps, and then people argue also that you're getting people that don't belong to be swept up as well. Unfortunately, sometimes the people that you can sweep up are not the criminal worst, because those people are still hiding. People that are in violation of entering the country under Biden, especially. We have millions and millions of people who are not supposed to be in the country. Those people are supposed to be gone. We aren't supposed to become Mexico 2.0.
We had a 3.0, because Mexico went all the way up to New Mexico until we took it back.
Yeah, New Mexico.
Right.
United States of Mexico.
We did. Yeah, from Mexico would have expanded all the way up to New Mexico, because that's where Mexico used to be.
Right.
But the idea is, I understand what you're saying. I do agree that it should not be that type of massive sweep of less than appropriately documented individuals for whatever reason after coming over. But coming over in droves, like I was saying, 200,000 people per month for that 4-year term with Biden, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And that's almost 3 million people a year that were flocking in and not on papers. But the issue that they have now is that they're going to try to force 13 million undocumented Americans out of America. I'm gonna say it like that, because if you've been here for 10 or 15 years, you've established your life here, you're a paying member of society.
But those aren't the people that are going.
Those aren't the people that are going anymore.
No, I mean, here and there, I mean, there's examples that the media wants to blow up, but for the most part, even the people that are going, the media wants to blow up. Oh, they're going to the courthouse. How could they deport someone that's going to the courthouse and living up their obligation? Those people will be late to it'll be their 4th court appearance where they don't show up. Finally, they show up.
I'm not talking about that guy, because Trump did say that we need to stop. So he did I think it was in May. He did no, not May. It was June or July. He did an appeals change because he recognized that they were sweeping up the ones that weren't causing any problems, the ones that have been here for a while and aren't causing any problems. And he made a public announcement. I've seen that.
Well, I don't exactly like what Trump is 100% doing, because what he's doing is benefiting the corporations as well. He's trying to say, well, the farms, well, this, well, that. Right. I thought America first. I thought that meant deport the people that aren't supposed to be here. That's what I voted for. I wanted to
Well,
I wanted to
my
see the
point
people
is,
that Biden brought in get taken out, and then we can
right,
start
but
fresh.
it's a hard thing to do because when you what the issue is that you would have to get all 13 million American non-American individuals or American non-registered, however you want to look at it, individuals to get documented, volunteer or not volunteer, but cooperate with the process. You've been here for a while.
I don't
You've
want to
built a
necessarily
business.
document them in a way that means make them in a process of getting citizenship. I want pretty much all of them gone.
Well, but you're saying that you want 13 million people to get out because they didn't do their paperwork before they got here.
Yeah.
But I believe that just like not registering your firearm or failing to update your driver's license or failing to renew your car insurance, that if it's a paperwork issue, and that is the only difference between being accepted with open arms and being kicked out of the country.
It's
that
totally
option,
different crossing over the border
hold on,
and then
hold
signing
on.
a.
I'm gonna say that there's a limit to this, but I'm talking about those people that are here for like 10 or 15
I'm
years.
just saying it's a different
6
action.
months. It is a different action. It is a different action. Crossing over the wall, going under that 70-foot tall wall that go the hole in the ground that goes under the wall into Texas, or getting in from the trunk of somebody's car. It's a different action to enter the country without proper paperwork versus entering the country with proper paperwork. But the difference between what I'm referring to is the person who got here by any means necessary, established a business, they're paying taxes or however they're doing, they're buying things or they're living a legitimate life, that those individuals should at least be
5%.
to, no matter how small of a group of people that is, that group of people deserve the opportunity to officially get established as an American citizen if they want to stay here, since the rule is get a visa or get gone, or get in the visa process or get gone. Now, if they don't want to conform to the laws, rules, and regulations of this country, it doesn't matter how they got here. If I was going to Japan, I got to follow the rules in Japan. If you're coming to America, you got to follow the rules of America. So if you're here and you're not here the right way and you're not trying to get it the right way, you're not trying to get your paperwork together late, then you need to go. And that's when people need to recognize that if you're refusing to leave, then that's when they have to take action, just like serving on a warrant. Your fourth court appearance, you haven't been showing up. Now they got to come and get you out of your car in the middle of the night on a rainy day, changing the tire because they found out that that's where you are. And then they come get you. They got to come get you.
Here's the problem, though. Trump ran on a deportation platform. That's what people voted for. People didn't expect the nuance. People just expected get him out. And
but they did not realize.
I mean, I'm not exactly pleased with all of the Trump cabinet. Basically, the only person I maybe am pleased with is RFK Jr. What do you think of RFK Jr.? I think he is taking on the establishment and bringing some new studies, and he's just bringing an oppositional force that is against big pharma, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and he hasn't disappointed me yet. It's just the way that I think the biggest issue is that when Trump puts out an executive order and then it gets carried out, the people that carry it out are not carrying it out the way that it probably would have been expected to be carried out. And then the responsibility of that falls on the person who signed the executive order. I think that's the issue there, because they could be more organized about this. But I mean, when you do a raid on a drug den, it's going to be the same kind of raid that you would do on deportation. It's going to be like 15, 20 guys, masked up, black suits, dark vehicles, assault rifles, kicking in every entrance, smoke grenades, and coming out with everybody in the building, whether you're a hostage, whether you're a participant, everybody's in handcuffs, everybody's being carried off, and then they just sort it all out at the police station. But when the difference between a drug raid versus deportation is that you should know everybody at this address doesn't belong in this country. So you should not be collecting like a Paul Brenner, 6'5" Caucasian male that, looks like he plays college football. He does not fit the dynamic of what you're looking for. You should not be grabbing the wrong individuals. And I believe that they should be more focused
I think
on.
I think those media examples are also selective. I think that
Social media is all about clicks. They're not about the truth.
there's examples, and I think even the public is rage baited, where
Mhm.
they're to the point where they want to be angry about everything that's happening around them, rather than choosing to be disinvolved and in their own world. People should choose to rather just engage in what's going on simply around them and what they're engaging in, rather than
But they're
involving themselves in every little problem.
Yeah, things that are outside of their reach,
Right.
which would actually be outside of their impact. They would not be impacted by
Yeah. And so many of these protests are about that free Palestine. It's like, what are you talking about? You're never going to go to Palestine. You're never, and same thing
that.
with the Israel people. A lot of them, you're never going to go
Yeah,
to Israel.
like
And,
I don't even know anybody from Israel.
it's just crazy. I don't understand the fascination with either side. I think they're both nuts. I think they're both
I think the kids need something to do.
but they also both feel morally right. They both feel like both sides feel like they're doing the morally correct thing.
They're validating their own lives by protesting the inconsistency of somebody else's life.
Right, because both sides are wrong.
Right?
That's why it's none of it makes sense. You have to. You're
doesn't make
supposed
sense
to take
me.
a side when both sides are wrong.
You can't take a side when both sides are wrong. You should be able to step back and analyze the situation and figure out a new solution. But
You
the
think.
protesters are not thinking about solutions. They're thinking about tearing up their streets and getting a pair of free Jordans from the mall during the chaos. And the fact is, where peaceful protest escalates to violent protest quickly, and then the violent protests escalate to tear gas, fire hoses, dogs, and assault rifles quickly. And then social media publicizes the fire hoses, assault rifles, and dogs. They do not protest the big brick that was thrown off the bridge on that ISIS vehicle and almost killed everybody in the vehicle. So they don't talk about what led up to the chaos. They just talk about the chaos. They promote the chaos. They do it for clicks. And my observation is that as a people, we're less informed because we choose not to be, not because somebody's holding the information from us. And then we act out based off of the squad that we roll with, not based off of our own personal knowledge. And then not a lot of us take the time to get the knowledge and insight before we take action. And follow the leader is very destructive. The blind leading the deaf right off the cliff is very destructive, because we see that this isn't going to end good, but we're allowing it to happen. And that is a huge problem. So when you asked me earlier about will we end up in a civil war because Trump went to jail, I told you we're going to end up in a civil war anyway. It's just going to have nothing to do with Trump, but people are going to blame Trump because he put out the executive order for the ISIS thing. Because think about this though, how many people in this country can say that they are best friends with somebody who qualifies for deportation? Because you and I, logic thinkers, would have leaned on our homie and say, bro, I will advocate for you. Let's get you some papers so that you don't go through what everybody else is going through. Like, there should not be a reason why you're trying to stop the guy from being arrested now. You've known him for 15 years and you've known that he's not registered with the country. You know he doesn't belong here, and you're okay with that. And you voted for somebody who's going to stop that. And now you're going to stop them from doing it, but you voted for it to get done. I think that that type of inconsistency and irrational behavior is going to be what leads to our current upcoming civil war. But I don't know if it's going to happen.
I understand the problem, and here's the thing: I voted for a third party 2016, 2020. In 2024, there wasn't a third party that represented my views better than Trump, and so that left me with one choice: Trump. And
I voted for free healthcare back then and didn't get it.
Yeah, and I mean, Kamala was such a disappointment. Her and Tim Walz. Tim Walz is the worst of the worst, but I don't want to keep hammering on about it. But yeah, I think I'll sign off in a few minutes here. But
yeah, I got to sign off as well.
Sure.
Because I'm trying my best not to take a bathroom break here.
Right. Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you had a lot of fantastic insights. And while I did have a couple more comments, I'm just going to add those to next Sunday night show. And I didn't get a chance to reference the one that did come in, so I'm going to put that into next week's show. So no worries, we carry it over because we always have a lot of insight. And I find that your knowledge is very insightful, very informative, and I look forward to having more of it. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about a lot of the chaos that is happening behind the scenes outside of the government shutdown, but it happened during the government shutdown. And if you want to jump back on and give me your knowledge and input about it, feel free to do so tomorrow. And we're going to be doing some more stock option information on Tuesday with the dividend rotation strategy that we've been following since June, and giving you guys more information on things that can be invested in over the next 2 months, so you guys can pay attention to the updated information. Now that the government is rolling again, we have exact dates on stock options that can be invested in. And if I find any other beneficial financial opportunities, I'll definitely let you know about it. Which areas actually did you benefit from before we wrap up the show today?
Well, I mainly the things that I was gaining mainly from you were for personal and professional advice. Looking forward to
doing more of that.
What kind of things that someone should be looking for in especially professional. What kinds of things that you should be looking from your boss, looking from your coworkers, and I think you've given good professional advice.
I'll be throwing more of that down on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah, because we have to recognize the non-negotiable expectations for behaviors. First person accountability. I'm responsible for myself. I'm responsible for how my decisions impact the people around me, but I'm also responsible for the decisions that I allow to be made around me. So in order for us in our professional life to make better decisions, we have to first establish a dynamic of how we want to be treated on our jobs, how we want to be respected on our jobs, where we plan on going in our jobs, and then finding the appropriate ways to go about getting there. So you can't just make demands with your boss. You have to negotiate. But you also, when you're trying to negotiate, you have to have leverage. And your leverage is not blackmail. Your leverage is your skill set. Your leverage is your knowledge. Sometimes you have to volunteer to perform the new position's tasks long enough to be able to advocate a promotion into that position by showing your boss that you have successfully impacted the company in a positive way by performing these tasks outside of that position. And with a raise and a title, you can be more impactful. It's always about how much your network can benefit you, or no, how much your network can benefit from you more than how much that you can benefit from your network. And likewise with your boss, with your company, with professionalism, in business, even in politics, it is how much the people that you're negotiating with can benefit from you. And that is the reason why they're going to agree with you, because whatever they're giving you, they don't need, but what they're getting from you, they want. And that is how you gain leverage in a situation where the resources are not in your favor. It's not about you going all in because you got more chips on the table. It's about you having the cards that they want, and you're willing to trade it to them for the pot. And that way you win and they win too. A good business deal, both of you reasonably get what you're looking for, or both of you are reasonably dissatisfied with what you gave up. But if one person is excessively happy and the other person's pissed off, that wasn't a good deal. So we got to start navigating ourselves into a situation where we're not doing an unconditional surrender, and we're starting to make more insightful decisions towards how we're going to make improvement. So I'll be taking what you told me, and I'm going to be looking into a lot more topics that will improve that with the professionalism, because I believe that improving our personal life and our personal life choices and decisions is highly important, and then improving our professional decisions are highly important as well. And that will aid us, because the decisions we make in our personal life cost us money, believe it or not. And the money that we spend on bad decisions in our personal life forces us to pressure our jobs for more money, which strains our relationships with our employers, especially if we don't work for ourselves. And if we do work for ourselves, it puts a strain on our clientele, because we will raise prices, lose consistent customer base in order to get more money for less effort, so that we can meet a higher financial demand, which ultimately ends up having us make less money until we build up a clientele that's willing to pay the higher price, instead of finding a way to make less financially impactful decisions that will not strain our financial life, so we are not strained on our financial employment, on our professional employment, where we can then have a clear mindset to make sound decisions, where a decision in desperation will take anything to have something, but a decision in clarity will only put up 20% to get out 80. But if I'm desperate, I'll put up 80 to get 20 because I need that 20. But then you just lose 60 to make that deal, and that's what we have to make the change from. So I'm going to continue doing that, and I'm glad that you've been coming to the show. And I'll
nice. I'm going to peace out here, and I see Arthur's comment asking who's the favorite UFC fighter. I'm going to say Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen is the only answer, and but I'm going to peace out of here. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Nice talking with you, man.
Thank you so much, Jesse. I really appreciate you coming.
Peace out. See ya.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. See you tomorrow. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, before we go, I'm going to say, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, keep watching, because we got a lot of stuff out here for you that's going to help you become higher value men. But ladies, y'all can utilize this information to make yourselves higher value women as well. I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command.